It was the kind of crime that didn't seem possible in modern Japan, a country known for safety, order, and some of the lowest crime rates in the world. But in late October 2017, in a quiet residential corner of Saitama Prefecture, police walked into a small apartment and discovered something that would shake the entire nation. Inside that room was a man known online as @HangingPro, a username that had been floating through Twitter for months, unnoticed by most, but quietly interacting with vulnerable people across Japan. What investigators found inside his apartment defied comprehension. What looked like an ordinary, tiny studio room turned out to be the center of one of Japan's darkest modern crimes, a chilling sequence of events that unfolded silently through social media. This is the full story of the Twitter killer Takahiro Shiraishi and the Saitama House of Horror, a case that revealed the hidden dangers of loneliness, desperation, and the shadows of the internet. To understand how this crime happened, we have to understand the environment it grew from. In 2017, Japan was facing a growing mental health crisis, one that wasn't always visible to the outside world. The country had long struggled with rising loneliness, social isolation, pressures on young people, a lack of open conversation about depression. Twitter had quietly become a place where people talked about dark thoughts because they couldn't say them anywhere else. At the time, Japan was dealing with what newspapers called the suicide hashtag problem. People were posting messages like, "I want to disappear. Is there someone who will die with me?" Looking for a partner for a double suicide. These posts weren't loud, dramatic, or attention-seeking. They were small, quiet messages, but they were increasing. And because Japanese law at the time didn't require platforms to monitor suicidal content, those tweets often went unnoticed. Into this growing void stepped a man named Takahiro Shiraishi. Before he became the Twitter killer, Shiraishi seemed, on the surface, completely unremarkable. He was born in 1990 inches, Kanagawa Prefecture. To those who knew him in school, he was quiet, withdrawn, sometimes helpful, sometimes invisible. Nothing about his early life signaled what he would become. He didn't come from a violent household. He wasn't a known troublemaker. He wasn't a childhood monster in the way true crime often portrays offenders. But there were early signs of something deeper. He never formed strong friendships. He had no ambitions. He drifted from job to job. He felt disconnected from people around him. He once told investigators that he felt like life had no meaning. In 2017, he moved to the small city of Zama in Kanagawa, renting a tiny apartment with thin walls and a single small window. Neighbors described him as a ghost. He never spoke, never greeted anyone, and never turned on his lights. Around the same time, he discovered a dark corner of Twitter, a corner where vulnerable people openly expressed their pain, and he learned how to use it. Shiraishi created several Twitter accounts. The most notorious was @HangingPro, a name referencing a method of suicide. He branded himself as someone who could help people die. In some tweets, he claimed he had experience assisting others. In others, he said he wanted a partner for a double suicide. His profile stated things like, "I want to help those who are really struggling." To someone in a desperate state, he appeared non-judgmental, understanding, willing to listen, willing to go with them. He targeted people who tweeted phrases like, "I want to die," "I'm alone," "Help me disappear." He didn't force. He didn't threaten. He replied gently. And this is where the case turns from unsettling to horrifying. Because his goal was not companionship or mutual death or emotional support. He intended to lure, and he intended to act. Shiraishi's first known victim was a 21-year-old woman who had posted that she wanted to end her life. Her tweets were not loud. They were short, sad fragments, expressions of hopelessness. Shiraishi approached her using a double suicide promise. "Let's die together." She believed he understood her pain. She agreed to meet him. The next day, she told no one where she was going. She left home quietly. That was the last time her family saw her alive. When she entered his apartment, she did so believing she was meeting someone who would end life with her as a companion in sadness. But she was wrong. This first victim set the pattern for the 8 that would follow. Between August and October 2017, Shiraishi continued responding to suicidal tweets. Each victim followed a similar path. 1. They tweeted about wanting to die. 2. He replied kindly. 3. He told them he would support their decision. 4. He promised a painless end. 5. He invited them to his apartment. But the victims were not just young women. Among the 9 victims were men, women, teenagers, a boyfriend searching for his missing girlfriend, a woman in her 22s, a girl just 15 years old. Some victims were not suicidal. They were searching for someone who had gone missing. Shiraishi lured them as well. He never attacked in public. He never acted impulsively. He planned everything quietly, methodically. The neighborhood never heard screaming. Neighbors only reported a faint smell from his apartment, unusual trash patterns, and the sound of movement late at night. Nobody suspected a thing. The case may have never been discovered if not for the determination of a young man in Tokyo desperately searching for his missing sister. She had posted suicidal messages on Twitter. She lived alone. And she went missing on October 21, 2017. Her brother found her Twitter conversations. One stood out, a man promising to help her die. He investigated on his own, tracked the Twitter username, found the matching account photo, traced it to a real face, discovered a possible location. He confronted Shiraishi directly online, pretending to be someone seeking help. Shiraishi responded. He agreed to meet. Instead, the brother went to the police. For the first time, authorities had a clear suspect. On the 30th of October 2017, police arrived at the Saitama apartment complex. They knocked. Shiraishi opened the door calmly. The officer asked, "Is the missing woman here?" Shiraishi answered, "Yes, she's in here." The officer asked, "Where?" Shiraishi looked down and said, "In the cooler boxes." That moment marked the end of one of Japan's worst serial crimes in modern history. The apartment was small, barely enough for a bed and a kitchenette. But inside, investigators found multiple containers, personal belongings, identification cards, clothing, handwritten notes. The room was described as one of the most disturbing scenes Japanese police had ever encountered. The case became known as the Saitama House of Horror. News headlines spread across Japan. 9 victims. Twitter killer arrested. Social media murders. The nation was stunned. During questioning, Shiraishi confessed immediately. He explained. He targeted vulnerable people. He searched for suicidal individuals. He used their pain to bring them to his home. He lied about double suicide. His true intention was control, not companionship. He told investigators, "I would never have been caught if the brother hadn't searched for her." One officer later said, "He spoke with no emotion, no remorse, as if he was describing a normal day." His interviews revealed a deep lack of empathy, a manipulative personality, a desire to dominate the vulnerable, an awareness of what he was doing. He was not delusional. He was not confused. He was fully aware. Shiraishi's trial began in 2020. It attracted national attention. Every seat in the courtroom lottery was oversubscribed by hundreds of people. His defense initially claimed diminished capacity, but this was rejected. Psychologists confirmed he understood his actions. The prosecution charged him with 9 counts of murder and multiple additional crimes. They demanded the death penalty. On the 15th of December 2020, the judge announced the verdict. Takahiro Shiraishi was sentenced to death by hanging. Shiraishi reportedly said, "I accept the sentence." He is currently on death row in Japan. The case triggered widespread changes in Japan. 1. Social media crackdown. Twitter introduced stronger restrictions against suicidal content, self-harm hashtags, Predatory accounts. Government agencies began monitoring youth mental health online. 2. National conversation on depression. For the first time, Japan confronted mental health more openly. Parents, teachers, and schools became more aware of online communities, secret suicidal groups, predatory accounts posing as helpers. 3. New focus on the lonely young adult crisis. Experts highlighted isolation, work pressure, academic stress, lack of support systems. The case revealed how vulnerable people could be targeted quietly, invisibly, and systematically. The Saitama House of Horror wasn't just a case about one criminal. It was a tragedy born from silence, loneliness, hidden struggles, and the shadows of social media. 9 lives were lost, 9 stories cut short, and a nation was forced to ask, how many quiet cries for help go unanswered every day in a world where everybody is connected, but so many still feel alone? This is the legacy of Takahiro Shiraishi, a reminder that even in one of the safest countries in the world, darkness can grow quietly, online, unnoticed, until it's too late. So before this episode ends, I want to leave you with this. Stay safe. Reach out. You matter. If you're struggling, or if someone you know is, please talk to someone you trust. No story is worth more than your life, and no darkness is too heavy to share. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, meaningful, or important, consider subscribing. It helps this channel continue to tell stories with care, accuracy, and respect. And if you want more cases like this one, feel free to leave a comment or suggest a case below. I'll see you in the next episode.